Hi, I'm Annabel Ruffell with Journey for Earth, and my guest today is Renee King-Sonnen. Hi, Renee, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. So, 6 years ago, you married a cattle rancher and went to live on a 96-acre cattle ranch. Share with us your journey to becoming vegan, because you weren't 6 years ago. You ate meat, correct? And so we'd love to hear your journey to becoming vegan, and also the defining moment you decided, no more, I can't do this. Things need to change.
Yeah, sure. Wow, I had no idea when I married my husband the second time, because we've been married twice, that I was about to embark on the most important time in my life. He had bought this ranch years before we married. It was part of his retirement. And I moved out here and, fell in love with the place, even though I'm a city girl. And I started getting to know the animals. I'd go out in the field with them. I'd do yoga with them to get to know them, because I was scared of them at first, actually. And so I'd go out in the middle of the field and I'd do my little Tai Chi moves and yoga moves, and they would just watch and chew their cud and come towards me. And so I got to know these animals. And then one day, this red trailer pulls in, and I'd name them. I knew their faces. And this red trailer pulls in, and I was watching, and I was doing my best to be a good wife and participate in this. And the baby calves are loaded in, they're baited in. It takes a couple of weeks for the calves to be baited in. They have to have food and go in this thing, and then they leave, and the mamas run after the trailer crying, and the babies are just bug-eyed looking out the window, so betrayed. And then what happens after that is days and nights of nothing but torment. You can hear them bellowing, in the house, and I could hardly stand it. So my heart would race. I would cry. So I'd go out there so I could just scream out loud with the cows and beg their forgiveness and let them know that I didn't know what to do, and I was sorry. I could never have kids of my own, so this whole process kind of reached me deep, because I've always wanted to be a mother and never was, and so to watch these mothers literally just wanting their babies back, and to know that I was indirectly responsible for them being slaughtered, was almost more than I could take. And so little bit by little bit, year after year, a little piece of me died. The last time the red trailer came in, it was in December of last year, 2014. I'd already gone vegan in October. Halloween is when I actually went vegan. I'd been conversing with a friend named Jeannie back and forth on Facebook. She was actually my Facebook shoulder to cry on, and she encouraged me to get a voice for my feelings, because I was a wreck. I was holding my husband hostage with these animals. I wouldn't let the trailer leave this last time. I threatened to follow them to the sale barn if the trailer rode out one more time. I threatened him. I said, if you take these animals this time, I will follow you, I will follow them, and I will meet their demise. And he was angry. We almost divorced over this, quite frankly. And but I drew the line in the sand, and what made me become vegan, that defining moment, was when I said out loud, I will follow them to the sale barn, I will meet their demise, and I knew I meant it. I had seen videos of people doing just that, and I knew I could do that, and I knew I would. And my husband knew I would. And he told me to stay out of the business, that it wasn't my business. And I said, you're right, it's not a business to me anymore. Lives are at stake. And I'm responsible today. I see it in a whole different way, and I can't be a part of it anymore.
You created an Indiegogo campaign recently to raise money, right? To buy, you have to buy the cattle from your husband, and then use that money to create the sanctuary, correct? Tell us a little about why that needs to happen, and your vision for it all.
Well, that's been one of my biggest challenges, is explaining to people why I have to buy the cows from my husband since he's my husband and I live here. It's been very interesting because when he decided that by God he was taking them no matter what, I had already named all the baby calves, the new ones that he told me not to name, and I couldn't bear the thought of them going away one more day. And I just, out of my mouth, I just knew I had to reach my husband somehow. Excuse me. And I said to him, what if I just buy the cows from you? What if I buy them and give them a sanctuary somewhere, figure out a place for them? He laughed at me, of course, thought I was crazy. And, buying the cows, that money is going to my husband to get him out of the cattle business, 100%, tooth and nail. He has agreed to lease back our property to the sanctuary, Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, for $1 a year until it's sustainable, until we can actually start, the sanctuary can actually lease the property. He's agreed to care for them. But, I had to figure out a way. And he laughed, but he told me, go ahead if you can figure out a way to do it, but I don't think you're going to do it. Well, that's when I started befriending vegans from the top. I called Howard Lyman. I spoke to him twice. He actually talked to me on Christmas Eve. Pulled away from his Christmas Eve dinner because I'd been trying to talk to him and call him 6 or 7 times, email him, and finally he answered. I communicated back and forth with Harold Brown, Kip Anderson, Kevin Smith, which was the producer of Peaceable Kingdom, Gene Bauer, Susie Costin. I went straight to the top of what I thought the vegan community, as far as animals and caring for them in sanctuary or otherwise, and I got support. And so that's how I started the Indiegogo campaign. Kip Anderson really was my, kind of like my light to do that, because that's what he had used to raise money for Cowspiracy. So I did it, having no idea I was going to reach the world this way. None whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a powerful platform. Very powerful.
Yeah.
So what do your husband's family, who are generations of cattle ranchers, think about the plans you and your husband have now for the ranch?
Well, it's interesting. My husband's family, a lot of them, of course, that were in the business have since died. My husband's great-great-grandfather used to actually drive cows from San Antonio to Houston, where they had a meatpacking plant. And so it was like the old-fashioned, cowboy days. He would drive them across the range. And so he's dead. And my husband's immediate family, they're supporting us because my husband supports me. They don't understand it. They're German, they don't understand this, but they're supporting it because my husband is behind it. It's very interesting. We're very private people. And so, no one's given us a lot of grief over it, surprisingly.
And what did you say, sorry?
No one's giving us a lot of grief over it, surprisingly. Now, I'm sure that the ranchers around us, when they really get the gist of what we're doing, since my husband is a member of the Brazoria County Cattlemen's Association,
right?
I'm sure it's going to be that's going to be the hardest challenge, I think, and not the family. The family's been supportive.
So how would you say the experience of spending time with these farm animals has changed you as a person?
Oh my gosh, it has changed my DNA from the inside out. Aww. It's like it's like I have received a download that was waiting for me to go vegan.
You're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me cry.
Yeah, a whole new set of ideas, attitudes, emotions have been given to me. It's amazing the experience of seeing the animals and them seeing me now. It's different. They know that I see them as sentient beings, as part of the family. They know that. I see them different. They see me different. They come up to me now in a way that, Houdini will put her little head on my knee and want to be petted. She used to be wild and wouldn't even come to me.
She trusts you.
She's trusting me. The chickens, Dixie chickens right here on my back porch. and I've been taking care of her, and she knows I love her. She knows I care for her. All my chickens, the horses, the animals, they all know something's up.
Mm-hmm.
The red trailer's out in the front pasture. It hadn't gone anywhere. It's now an icon and a beacon of hope right here on Highway 35 in Angleton, Texas, right in the middle of Cowtown, seriously.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And they know, I mean, animals sense so much, They know, you're right.
They know. Because guests are coming out here from all over. They're wanting to be with the cows, so I'm always taking people out there to see them, taking pictures with them, playing with them, petting them, and they're like, "What is up?" They're like digging this attention.
Oh, I love
Especially
it.
Houdini. Watching Houdini just become the most amazing. Like, she just can't wait to be petted. She can't wait to be played with, and she used to be so wild, And Rowdy Girl and Houdini are in a separate pasture now because Houdini was getting out of the fence all the time, and we had to separate them. And so they are really getting spoiled, those two.
So, what do you find most challenging about the work that you do?
Well, the biggest challenge was explaining to the world why I had to buy the cows. Somebody along the way put my cause on a vegan ranch debate forum, and ranchers from across the country just about lit me up. Because I was challenging their way of life, right? That was a big challenge. I think the biggest challenge now is managing all the communications across the world, because I had no idea I was going to create a sanctuary. My destiny has caught up with me. I wasn't looking for this. It found me, and whenever I surrendered and became vegan, it's like, this is your path, this is what you're going to do. And so my biggest challenge now is opening my entire world into becoming people across the world are communicating to me every day, and so that's a challenge. But I try to answer everybody. I try to respond and answer to every communication.
You're going to need assistance soon.
I know. You want a job?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, something that I think about a lot and talk about with friends and everything, people find it very hard to change their eating habits in general. And what do you feel the little steps are that people can take that maybe want to eat more compassionately but aren't yet ready to give up meat, or maybe even don't want to or feel they need it for health reasons or whatever? What would you say to those people?
Well, most people don't have the direct exposure that I did to, flip that switch. Mm-hmm. I would say watch every documentary that you can. Cowspiracy, Forks Over Knives, Vegucated, The Peaceable Kingdom, A Journey Home. These documentaries, Speciesism, Earthlings, take it one at a time. Maybe watch one a week while you're changing your diet. Because once these images and the information about how our environment is being impacted, how our diet is being, imposed upon by all the animal excretions, once the knowledge comes in along with the images, I think the diet will naturally change. I think seeing it for me has been a big deal, witnessing it. And that's some baby steps. Reading those books, like Melanie Joy has a great book, Why People Eat Cows or Eat Pigs and Love Their Dogs or something. I love that book, and the China Study. Just getting information, getting educated.
Yeah, well said. And what if you had a single most important message to share about farm animals, what would it be?
The single most important message for farm animals is that they have no voice. We are their voice, or we are the ones that slit their throat. There is no middle of the road. We have to, in my opinion, since going vegan, we each individually have to find our voice, and we have to say it out loud. We have to write it. We have to be willing to come on interviews like this. We have to get the message out. And, that's the reason I'm having the fundraiser May the 2nd right here on Highway 35 in Angleton, Texas, around all these ranchers, is because I'm trying to raise awareness about veganism and educate the public on what it is, as well as, to raise funds for our 501c3 that we're creating. So I guess that would be it. Find your voice and not to be afraid of it.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you so much for coming and talking with me today and for sharing from your heart and talking from your heart. And please, all of you, go to Renee's websites and her Indiegogo campaign, and all of the links for those will appear right after the interview. Thank you so much, Renee.
Thank you, Annabelle. It was a pleasure.